meteorologist Brittany Van Voorhees here to explain why it feels the way it does today and the quick changes we saw.
Yes, you probably hear our team, including Brad, of course, talk about this a lot, but it's all because of cold air damming, what we sometimes refer to as the wedge. So when cold air is already in place, like it was yesterday, we were chillier even though the sun was out. Cold air is more jam-packed together. It's more dense, so it stays a little bit closer to the ground. It also allows for a lot more molecules, and they're moving a lot slower. So when the cold air is already in place and then we have an approaching storm system, this oftentimes will bring warm air if there's a warm front associated with it. Because the cold air is so dense, it is really, really close to the ground, the warm air overruns it. So what we mean by that is it essentially goes above it. As it does so, it actually cools as it moves upward, which is typical. Temperatures do normally cool with height, and this provides enough moisture for eventually clouds and rain to begin to form. Now, eventually, the warm air will kind of match the same temperature as the cold air, and it can't provide it anymore. But when we're not necessarily all the way into winter season, some of those most common conditions you'll see is cooler temperatures, that steady light rain, which we do, of course, need. Brad's been talking about that a lot, and the fog, the mist, and the low, thick clouds. However, during certain times of the year, because this is most common from October to April here in the Carolinas, you might even mix in some winter precipitation, depending on, exactly what time of year it is, how cold it is. That can be freezing rain, sleet, and all the way to snow. Now, we're obviously not at that point yet, but Brad, I think it's a good time to maybe tease the fact that your winter weather forecast is coming out next week.
Yeah, next week. And I tell you what, these cold air damming events, wedges, that's why we end up getting at least a trace of snow every year until the last 2 years. We're in a snow drought. 1,020 days since we've seen any snow at all here in the Queen City. And coming up next Thursday, I'll tell you if that could change coming up this year, our 20th anniversary of our winter outlook.